Hello friends, chosen ones. We're up here in northern Norway in the summer island having a hike, and today we're talking about effortlessness. So, since we're little ones, we get taught to effort and struggle, right? Work hard, and that gets pushed really deep into our backbone, so we keep on fighting, and it's about time we recognize that for what it is, and it's a sort of programming that we got because we're meant to be laborers, or in a sense, it kind of sounds cynical, but it is true. Slaves, in a sense. Slaves to a lack of abundance and, to an abundance of scarcity, really. That's kind of the mindset that most of us get when we're young. And it's something that our parents got when they were young, and so on and so forth. And it goes back to ancient times, because way back in the day we were actually sort of slaves. And it's not so strange. Most of humanity have been slaves. We know this. It's common knowledge. Nothing strange about that. We were slaves for thousands of years, in different forms and ways. But it's a programming that's still there, and it's part of the matrix, and it's one of those things you need to get aware about. It ties back to ego, the ego of society, the ego of nations, the ego of the rulers, whatever. And this is where you need to take back your power. And effortlessness is sort of the antidote, but it's not just about, laying on the beach and forgetting about everyone else or anything like that, but it's deeper. So we're going to talk about that today. Wow, this place keeps surprising me and stunning me. It's so beautiful, and some very intriguing peaks here behind me. They seem to be north facing, which pyramids are there, north to south, east to west facing, and that has to do with taking up the energy of the earth. So the magnetic goes north to south, and of course the rotation east-west. So yeah, this one is very intriguing, and there's more of them. But more about that later. I'll have to go see if I can climb some of these. Anyways, so what is effortlessness? Well, it's what happens when you are in alignment. See? Alignment means, in a sense, surrendering yourself to your higher power, to God, to Source, to the universe. And how do you do that then? Well, you align yourself, you let go, you stop struggling, okay? You rebel against the matrix in a sense, but it's an internal rebellion, which then it has external consequences, obviously, but it's not like you have to fight it, you just have to let go of it. Stop doing that. Stop doing that thing you do that keeps you from getting everything you want. So, and it's a process. It's a process of exploration, of trial and error, and of building up your faith, your confidence in the universe, that this is a good universe, a loving universe, and a conscious universe. And it's not just something to believe in blindly. That's not what I'm talking about. Alignment will show you these things through synchronicity, through downloads, and as you become more conscious, direct communication, all kinds of things are going to happen. So if you let it, But the matrix, it makes us so skeptical. But you need to make sure that skepticism goes full circle on itself. So how does it do that? Well, you need to question it. You need to question skepticism. From my perspective, skepticism is highly negative. It's not, it says that I'm the neutral one, because I'm just skeptical about everything, but it's actually being negative about everything. It's not a balanced perspective, you know, think about it. And this is what we're being taught in school, you know. So it really shapes us early on, and it makes us very close-minded and narrow-sighted, you know. And that can block us up for a long time. So you need to deprogram yourself. Pretty much all of us need to do that. And the simple way to do it is to get into alignment and to experiment with alignment for yourself. And I keep coming back to Abraham Hicks, but it's because they are the best teacher that I've encountered, so I'll keep quoting them quite a bit. But meditation, man. Meditation in the morning, because when you have slept, then you have reset yourself, okay? And the first thing that we naturally do when we wake up is we start our programming up again. So that's a perfect timing to shut it down. It's just when we boot up, so to speak. So when you wake up in the morning, you know, it doesn't have to be, you know, as soon as you open your eyes, but I mean, it should be pretty soon after. You know, some people, they like to eat first, whatever, but I try to just meditate the first thing I do. Even after you shift, you know, you're still gonna need to take care of your vibration, and meditation is really important. So I mean, yeah, I would say especially after you shift, because then whatever you do has more consequence, you know. There are more effects of your vibration, of your actions, of your thoughts, everything. It ripples out a lot more. And especially for your own well-being, you know. So what is then the result of alignment, and what is this effortlessness? So it's something that Abraham has been talking a lot about, and something that I've started experimenting with thanks to Abraham. And now my faith is really strong, because I've had so many countless experiences of things working exactly how Abraham says they would. So so alignment and the trust that makes you relax, you know, in a very deep way. And it makes you be present. So you're here in the moment, and you're with all your senses, and your senses get heightened over time too. And you take it all in, baby, all of it, right here and now. And life becomes really full that way, very satisfying. Like, you'll notice you can eat the same cookie or whatever that you ate before, but you're gonna enjoy it 10 times or 100 times more, because you're there. You're there for every bite. You're there for every little contrasting experience, you know. And you know, then the more exciting experiences, they get even more exciting. So, and life in general, it just gets really magical and amazing. So, and it will never stop. It will always continue becoming more, because that's one of the fundamental essences of what we are. We are ever evolving without stop. So, there's also a core, which is sort of beyond all of that, but you know, anyways. So there, I mean, I'm just saying, there is something that never dies, you know, that's never born, that's always there. So, and that's something to find comfort in, because that's you. You. So right, so this effortlessness, it manifests in all kinds of ways, but especially in synchronicities, right? So it starts by being calmer and more relaxed and more trusting, and stop chasing things, you know, so much. You don't have to really chase anything, because if you learn about law of attraction, again, something that Abraham is all about, law of attraction is basically your frequency attracts everything to you, all your experiences, good or bad. So when you start experimenting with this and thinking about it and reflecting about it, you realize you have so much more control than you ever were told or you ever thought before. And yeah, it can be scary, but ultimately it's very empowering. But you start small, you start experimenting with the small things, and work your way up, you know. And So, I mean, it can be like little things, like there's something you want, maybe something you want to manifest, and it could be you want to have a certain result on an exam, or you want someone to call you, or you want to have money for something that you want to do, like this week or something. And yeah, you could start trusting more, and you could start doing less. Or, you know, or if you're growing a business, or you want to get a job, or I mean, there's countless things that we want, right? So, but the way we've been brought up is like to push, and we drive ourselves crazy with that. And actually, the vibration you carry when you're needing something, when you're like really wanting something, is not the same vibration as when you receive it. Okay? And that's a beautiful thing, because when you realize this, then your life becomes so easy. Because you can really just be where you are and enjoy yourself, truly enjoy yourself. And the things that you want will come to you sooner and better than if you go chasing after them. And I think this is true about pretty much everything. And now that my frequency is where it is, it's like really incredible how easy things are getting. And the more I care about choosing the things that I want to experience, and choosing what to allow into my life, or who to allow into my life, and so forth, things just kind of improve. So yeah, but this effortlessness and alignment, it just gets stronger, right? So that's the only effort really you need to make, the effort of maintaining your alignment as much as possible. See, and that's another thing not to be upset about, is being out of alignment, because that's part of it. See, when you're out of alignment, that's when you create stuff. That's when you tell the universe, oh, I don't like this, I want the opposite, you know. And then the universe says, oh, okay, so relax and it will come to you. And you relax and then it comes to you. You know, you align yourself. Aligning means enjoying. It means being present. It means love, actually, love. Loving where you are, no matter how dark it might seem, you know. And of course, there's going to be times when you don't love where you are, and where you have a really hard time with accepting and so forth. But you know, with time it gets easier, and even the big things that you think would be so terrible, like losing a loved one, turns out not to be so bad, you know, after some time. You know, obviously when it happens it's a shocker, but sometimes, but yeah. So yeah, I mean, if you haven't been meditating or aligning, and you don't know about these things from before, then give yourself a month or 2 or 3, you know, to start to get the hang of these things. You need to be serious about it. See, the only effort you need to really make is to focus and align yourself, and surrender, have faith, all of that stuff. And the easiest way, as I said, is meditation. So then there's an infinite amount of tools. I keep learning about new tools all the time. But the beauty with meditation is, like, pretty much anyone can do it anywhere they are, and you don't need to buy anything. And whatever state you're in, yeah, that's the big one. So if you're very happy or very sad, you can still meditate and it will help you. Abraham speaks about appreciation being an even higher state than meditation. So if you're very happy, you know, if you're very joyful, and it's easy for you to appreciate things around you where you are, and so forth, then that's better actually than meditation. That's what they say. And I have to agree, like, meditation, you can still meditate at first and then do your appreciation, but it's almost not necessary when you're really high and flying, you know. So, but you have to experiment with these things. In Vipassana, we call this appreciation, we call it metta bhavana. So that's the meditation on loving kindness. And I mean, love and appreciation is pretty much the same frequency, so we're talking about the same thing. So if you know about metta, then yeah, that's a really good place to be, you know. And that's usually how we end the Vipassana meditations. We have a little bit of, we have like 1 hour of Vipassana and then 5 minutes of metta after. So, but what Abraham would recommend is 10-15 minutes of meditation in the morning, or longer if you're really feeling it, you know, then you can keep going, it's all right. But if you're not feeling it, then don't push it, you know. It's better to just go on with the day and then try again the next day, or after you have a long nap or something. Naps are really good too. That's something I have benefited a lot from lately, and I know Abraham talks a lot about taking naps throughout the day when you feel like it. And that's sort of where I'm getting to now, is a place where when I'm tired I sleep, when I'm not tired I'm awake. I don't really care about what time it is. And I follow my own cycles, you know, like I think that's really healthy. I think that's you know, the inspired thing to do. So my life keeps getting more and more effortless, you know, as I embrace that concept. And it takes time to rid yourself of all this efforting, because you think you feel guilty, so you think you have to do things a lot more than you need to. But actually the universe creates everything for you. You just have to point at what you want, and with your thoughts, with your appreciation, with your love, you know, you keep thinking about it, you can visualize it, you know. This is going a little deeper now. We're not just meditating, we're being more deliberate in a sense. And when you're ready for it, it's great, you know, to start imagining the things you want as if they are already here. And it can be really, really powerful, and make things manifest sooner. But get stable first, I would say, and really focus on being in alignment, because that's the number one, the key to all of this. And you will evolve beautifully. But give yourself some time and really focus on it every day, you know, start again. And you know, it can be hard, you know, sometimes. And even me, I meditated for many years, hours every day, you know, religiously. But you know, you could still have days where it gets stormy and you have a lot of emotions coming up and stuff like that. And or it could be that you're overcoming things, or you're healing, or there's some very deep-seated things that are coming up that you need to take care of. So, you know, be kind to yourself, love yourself first, and make sure you don't push yourself, you know. Again, it's like even in that, trying to align, we can overdo it, and then we get out of alignment more, and then we frustrate ourselves, and it becomes like a negative spiral a bit. But so it's really important to sleep well. So you see, when you sleep well, then you get up and you have this fresh start, and then you meditate, then boom, you're ready to go. So you want your room to be dark and cold, and you want to make sure that you're not on social media so much in the evening or just before bed. And I mean, common sense kind of stuff, but it's very important. And the more you work on your vibration, the more you're going to realize these things, how important they are, like little subtle things, and how you eat and when you eat and stuff like that. And it's different for every person, I think, but you have to experiment and see what works for you. See, and you'll find out in time that a lot of the things that people told you were wrong or bad or stuff, it doesn't matter as much as they said they would, you know, or maybe not at all, or even sometimes the opposite is true. So you really have to be your own master here. Very important. The sun is peeking out a little bit here. Man, I love this stuff. It means the world to me, and I've learned a lot in the past few years, and it just keeps getting better and better. So I wanted to give you guys some examples so you know what I'm talking about. But yeah, so for example, when I moved, I talked about in an earlier video that I moved 1,000 kilometers north about a year and a half ago. And we had been to this place, this ski resort, one time previously, and we just got such a good feeling about the place. We were about ready to move already then, but then a lot of stuff came up, and we're gonna have a baby and all kinds of things, so we kind of wanted to postpone it. But I know now that my soul had already moved up there the moment we arrived, so, or maybe even before. So it was kind of a torturous, what was it, 2 years or whatever it was before we actually moved. So that was tough, but that was a good lesson for me to be bolder and braver and to follow my heart. And so what happened so that's another thing, right? Like to have the courage to do things, and it's something you need to build up over time with your alignment. You know, the more you are in alignment, the bolder you will be, because you trust something higher than yourself, which is infinitely more powerful and wants the best for you, and will create all kinds of amazing synchronicities to give you the things you need and want. So, for example, when we were moving up, we were looking for some place to rent, and so we decided to go up and have a look. I think it was, in the summer. So we moved in 1st December, and we were there all in the summer, August, September, something. So we decided to go up and look for something to rent and to look around and get to know the area and so forth. So we went up, and we didn't know anybody up there. We'd only been there one time before for like a week. And online there was something, but then that turned out to be nothing. So we came up and we were camping a bit by some beautiful lakes and rivers and stuff. And what we did is we went to the supermarkets and we checked the billboards, you know. And in this day and age, you would think everything is online, but there's one supermarket where we found one ad for the house that we got. And it's the first one that we called, and we said we wanted to see it, and they said, yeah, sure, come tomorrow. So we went there, and we were blown away how beautiful this place was. Especially the location of it. That everything was perfect for what we needed, you know. And we were so stoked, and everything was just so smooth, and you know, the best hosts we've ever had, to be honest. Really nice people and very easygoing, and we've met them several times, and they're very nice. So I mean, we feel really well taken care of. And so that's a synchronicity, right? And it was really funny because it turns out that I had done some investments before, some stock investments, and it turned out that one of the guys who was in that company was actually gonna live in that same house, okay? And but the whole company failed to do a big move that they're gonna do. They had a product that they released that didn't do very well initially anyway. So I think that's why they were moving away from there. So it's funny that I lost some money, yeah, but in the end I got this beautiful house, which then led to all these other amazing things happening in my life. So that's some beautiful synchronicities for you. And this is kind of what you're in for when you have that level of faith and allowing, and you go for things. You're brave enough to do these crazy moves, you know, that for most people it seems insane to leave most of your family, your work and everything, and travel so far away and not know anybody, but then in the end it turns out to be the best thing you ever did, you know. It's kind of amazing. And the way I'm feeling now is just that there's just more and more of these things happening. That's a small example out of many that's happened over the years. I just made a video about how I manifested my wife, and that's a really big one. That's a really big synchronicity, how we met each other. So you can listen to that one. Oh wow, it is pretty here. Whew. Yeah. So I feel extremely blessed to be where I am and to know the things I know and to be able to do the things I do. And I'm thrilled to see what's coming next, you know. I'm really happy where I am, and at the same time I'm very eager for what's next. And that's really the place you want to be with in your life, in your alignment. And also be okay with not knowing, you know. I'm still working on that part, you know. I've always been that kind of person who wants to know a lot, but you want to not focus so much on that you lose track of the present. See, that's the key. So I'm telling myself as much as I'm telling anyone else that we need to be more present and enjoy ourselves more and make the most out of every moment, because that's the only thing that really exists, and that's where all your power is. It's right here and now. You know, what you did in the past is gone. the future is but a fantasy from where you're standing. So it's all really here and now. And when you meditate, you tap into that. And you let the universe, your higher power, do the heavy lifting for you. See? Life can be really, really easy and effortless and fun if we just do these simple things, you know. They're not some kind of rocket science. It doesn't take meditating in a cave for 30 years, you know. Just a small focused effort every day for a while. And then it's gonna just go by itself, you know. You're just gonna do it because you know the days you don't do it, how shitty it is and how good it is when you do it. So it gets easy, you know. It gets really easy after some time. But you know, you can still have the odd day that's, you know, but forget about that. Not important. What's important is the average, the consistent aligning, and the consistent effort to align and to be effortless, you know. It's a bit of a paradox too, but it makes a lot of sense after a while when you've tried this stuff and experimented with it for yourself. So go ahead and listen to Abraham Hicks. I would encourage everyone and anyone to listen more to Abraham Hicks, because that's really an amazing vibration and so many good techniques, tools to use. But I'm also here for you, and I'm happy to share my experiences and my frequency and my synchronicities and so on with all of you. And I hope I'm helping you somehow and inspiring you, and to do these things for yourself, because you also deserve it, you know. There's so much programming that we get from when we're little and so forth that really makes us into, you know, we become fearful, and you know, you don't need to overcome it all in one day or one night, but little by little. And the way I've done it has been very, very powerful, so I would recommend this to anybody, really. But of course, if you have deep psychological issues and stuff like that, then maybe I'm not talking to you right now, but you might need professional help. So don't take this as medical advice or anything, because it's not. It's just friendly guidance, okay? And always remember that anything I tell you, if you try it, that's on you. That's your responsibility. So, but please don't be shy to share with me if you're having trouble. So I'm happy to help, you know, from my past experience. So, anyways, so I hope you know a bit better what effortlessness is now, and something you can develop for yourself in your life. But it's really about letting life become more aligned and more of a co-creation with God or Source or the universe, whichever you want to call it. I prefer God, but I could use either. Yeah. All right, so I'll let you guys go now. Have a great day. Ciao.